when I look at the San Francisco 49ers heading into this season, sure, you have the pending contract situation with Nick Bosa. We got to see if Deebo Samuel could bounce back this year. Christian McCaffrey was healthy last year. Can that carry over heading into this season? But when you look on paper with the 49ers, you check their defense off, lot to love. You look at the offense, tremendous O-line, good receiving corps, and running back, they have more than enough in the year of 2023 to get the job done. But the biggest question still remains with the 49ers. Do they have enough in Kyle Shanahan's system where they could just find a game manager or an above average quarterback? And we all know the guy that's going to get the first opportunity to step up and deliver was their best quarterback from a year ago in Brock Purdy. But I'm still skeptical about Brock Purdy because even though he was tremendous in a small sample size a year ago, I want to see once teams adjust to him and when he gets through and if he gets through an entire season, how is he going to handle the ups and downs of an NFL quarterback? And a lot of it is situation. How many times do we sit here on CBS Sports Radio and bitch and complain 3 or 4 years after the fact, this quarterback, I still believe in him, but he wasn't drafted into the right situation? The 49ers, whoever they bring in at quarterback, usually you can't make an excuse that they don't have enough talent on the offensive or defensive side of the ball. So for Brock Purdy, he's going to be given the baton, and we'll see how far he's going to be able to run with it. But if he stumbles, if he trips, if he falls, if he gets hurt, there's going to be someone else that's going to need to step up. And what I saw over the weekend, and I can't stand preseason games. I am not a fan of the preseason. I sit there on the edge of my seat just saying, please, no one get hurt and get me to the first football Sunday of the year. But when you watch the preseason game between the Niners and the Raiders from over the weekend, Sam Darnold was a better quarterback than Trey Lance. Now, you could look at the stat sheet because a lot of you, I'm not stupid, will just look at the stat sheet and say, all right, another preseason game in the books. We inch closer and closer to the season. And when you look at the Trey Lance stat sheet, it looks like he played well. 10 of 15, 112 yards, 1 touchdown. But that touchdown pass was a fortuitous bounce because it should have been intercepted by the Raiders. And he should have been picked off twice in that contest, but he wasn't. So you watch Trey Lance, and I'm not telling you Trey Lance stinks. I'm not telling you Trey Lance can't play in this league, but it's now been a few years. He's entering year 3 in the NFL, and a lot of it you could say he hasn't been given the opportunity or he hasn't taken advantage in the small opportunity he's been given. But I don't believe that the 49ers believe, and it's crazy to say this after giving up 3 first-round draft picks a few years ago, that the 49ers clearly don't believe in Trey Lance moving forward. Because when you draft a player 3rd overall and you miss, it usually ruins your career. The saving grace here for Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch is they're really damn good at their jobs. Even though they messed up the Trey Lance pick or they have lost their sense of belief in Trey Lance, it seems as if each and every year for the last few years, we wake up and bare minimum, the 49ers are not only a playoff team, but they're playing in the NFC title game. We've seen with Lynch and Shanahan them get to the Super Bowl up against Kansas City, Jimmy Garoppolo, of all people, outplay Patrick Mahomes for 3 quarters, and then Mahomes did what Mahomes usually does. And the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. We've seen the Niners get to the NFC Championship game 2 other times, blew that 4th quarter lead to the Rams, and then just a year ago, go through quarterback after quarterback because of injuries and get blown out by the Philadelphia Eagles in South Philadelphia. So usually when you go and you make a draft pick and give up all that capital to go get your quarterback and it looks like it's failing, the coach and the GM get shown the door. But here, they avoid criticism really because of the fact that they find a way not to win a Super Bowl, but still be a winning product year in and year out. And it's kind of fascinating to see how this all unfolds because, as I said earlier, it's tough to even evaluate Trey Lance because he had that one great year at North Dakota State, then COVID hits, and when COVID hits, he played 1 game that year, then he gets drafted, isn't designed to be the guy, because it was Jimmy G who was going to get one more year there. Then last year is the guy, week 1 up against the Bears, plays in that monsoon, and then gets hurt. And now all of a sudden, the 49ers have no interest in Trey Lance or ever plan or intend for Trey Lance to be their starting quarterback again. It's fascinating. And the reason why I will be a little bit critical of Kyle Shanahan here is because I really do believe he was talked into drafting Trey Lance. He originally wanted Mac Jones. Now, is Mac Jones going to be a Hall of Famer? Probably not. Is Mac Jones even going to be a starting quarterback in this league a few years from now? I don't know. But Mac Jones at Alabama had an abundance of talent led by Devontae Smith, and look what he was able to do. The 49ers have an abundance of talent. We even saw in year 1 for Mac Jones when he didn't have a plethora of names, he was able to take a Patriot team that doesn't have a great roster to the playoffs. So what would have Mac Jones have done if he was drafted by the 49ers? I'll even go a step further, which it didn't seem like they were entertaining this name. I'm surprised, and it's amazing to me how many teams glossed over this guy, whether it was the Jets at 2 or if it was the 49ers at 3. Clearly, you know that Trevor Lawrence absolutely was going to be the #1 overall pick, but why wasn't Justin Fields more considered by the 49ers? So heading into this season, I got to see the 49ers take that next step. And even though we have escaped a lot of the criticism directed towards John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan now, this has been a lot on Kyle Shanahan because I'm going to the Jersey Shore. I'll use this analogy. I'm going to the Jersey Shore on Friday, and I'm definitely going to be playing some roulette. Kyle Shanahan is the guy that walks into the roulette table at the casino, and he's the guy at the table that maybe after a few cocktails or not, he's getting very energetic, and he's telling everyone where to place their money on, where to place their chips on. And it's crazy how quickly he moves from red to 6 to 13 to 14 to black. And even though at times it's like, ooh, should I really question or should I really believe in Kyle Shanahan? At the end of the night, in most trips than not, he finds a way to walk you out in some way where you have some extra cash in your pocket. But that's the way that Kyle Shanahan has approached this quarterback situation. Get Jimmy G. Give Jimmy G the big contract. Then flirt with your ex and Kirk Cousins. All right, then it's Jimmy G is the guy once again. Then you go, okay, we're going to move mountains to go get Trey Lance. All right, Jimmy G's back to being the guy. All right, Trey Lance, now maybe you'll get another opportunity. Brock Purdy. He told Albert Breer after 3 games he knew Brock Purdy was the guy. When does he start to sour Kyle Shanahan on Brock Purdy now? Because this is what this guy does. And I think a lot of it is ego. And I do believe a lot of it is his belief in his system. And in an era right now, when you enter 2023, we see all these enormous contracts to the quarterback position. And we see all these quarterbacks getting money. Kyle Shanahan saying we could win without having great quarterback play. Because our roster constructed by John Lynch is good enough. And then also my coaching talent will find a way to get us back to the well. And they may get back to the well of the final 4 teams, but I will sit here and I will stand by this. Until they get a guy that they actually believe in and believe in him for a full season at the quarterback position, they're not winning a Super Bowl. As great as that roster is, as good as that team has been, where each and every year it seems like they're in the NFC title game and they get so close, if you don't believe in your quarterback and you don't have someone and just saying, oh, I trust Brock Purdy is the guy right now, I want to see come week 7, week 8, if the 49ers still actually believe in Brock Purdy. And judging by the last few years, Kyle Shanahan says he believes in quarterbacks, but does he actually believe in those quarterbacks? And by the moves that he's made and how many changes there have been, whether it's injury or just falling out of the good graces of Kyle Shanahan with those quarterbacks, more times than not, Kyle Shanahan quickly moves off a quarterback as quick as he is to anoint that quarterback being the guy. So heading into this NFL season, the 49ers quarterback position is something that I'm just so curious to see how many changes there are and can they find their guy to go take advantage and get this team over the hump to win a Super Bowl.